Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Blue Swan Studio. Let me share a little bit with you. Anna Krista Goya with you, formerly known as Dr. Jeren. In this video, I would like to introduce you to the concept of spiritual linguistics. Maybe some of you know that I had a very rich past with languages. 22 years. PhD in Turkmen language, Masters in Russian philology, Masters in English philology, and I was a director of the Linguistics Center, where I taught people to, through the way of immersion and Raja Yoga, which is kind of like storm of the unconscious, to understand and to speak a different language in like really short periods of times, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, working 4 hours a day. And so happened that when I came to America as a visiting scholar, I even was lucky to get this job on a dictionary, 710 pages. And there was such a scrupulous work, 3 years, that it was an amazing blessing to see my name on that dictionary. Thank you to the originators and to my partner, Alan Frank. So, spiritual linguistics, what does it mean? Where does it take us? I really love to entertain this idea, spiritual idea, and maybe a lot of you hear it, about our oneness. And with that oneness, we kind of get, in all kind of funny situations. Some people want to reject it. Some people really get into it. Some people kind of find it, funny. But to me, it's an extremely serious thing, this oneness. There is this guy called Gary Lackman. One of his teachers is Colin Wilson, I would say. They both wrote quite a few books, and Gary Lackman is very productive on giving all kind of talks. It's a really beautiful listen to him. And one of the things that he says is there is no such thing as a Big Bang. Because he says if it was the very beginning, the size is relative, so there was no such thing as big. And then he says there was no bang because there was no one to hear it. But I totally believe that God heard it. Forgive me if you felt like it was a fake laughter. So, it's actually a separate video about the Big Bang, about the consciousness that decided that there has to be Big Bang and the huge light, bang, and all kind of things came to beings, including that light. Quite a few people say, how can you know God? The closest thing to God in our lives is like the presence of light. Light. Maybe some of you know I was a healer for 23 years. And as soon as I started doing my fascial release, I took it as a spiritual body work. And I helped people to use their mind to feel that light inside their body. Because that is a huge prerequisite of healing. Your mind inside your body. So mind and body can be totally one. That's the one of the tenets of rainbow medicine. So that very original light from the Big Bang is still circulating through our souls. One way of understanding the oneness between all the human beings, in my opinion, is comparing words from different languages. Because when you do that with a very deep set of intuition, you can really understand how the meaning travels. And it's like, with the words, they arouse these images in our mind. We are not even conscious of it, how it happens. But every time you hear a word, it's the images and the flow of images. And to truly understand the flow of images, it really helps to have this deep intuition. But this deep intuition actually comes from many, many, many hours of meditation, when your brain is sort of reworked in a totally new way. Because the very fastest intuition actually happens through very chain of pictures, even already without a sound. So, but when your ears are actually working and you hear those sounds, and then at the same time, your brain is actually capable of at the same time watching the images that arise in the back of the mind. And when you put them together, it's kind of like opening the veil from the mind of God and understanding what God meant by creating a human being and giving him the right, the consciousness, so the human being can infinitely develop her abilities, getting closer and closer to what God is. Because, for example, not even speaking about archangels, the Metatron is believed to have been a human being. And some folks call him now like a right hand of God, right? Metatron, the king of electrons. To give you some examples, like when I start my video and I say, hello, dear friends. The word friend, for example, if we take the word friend, it's like interesting. You see, do, re, mi, fa, by chakras, do, re, mi, fa, 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 heart. Heart that takes you far. And to me, I just had goosebumps. To me, friend is kind of like a far end of me. Far end of me. If every human being on earth is a far end of me, some are of course close, especially when you get into coitus, sexual union. That's the closest physically you could be. But every human being, if you have this love growing, opening in your heart, all the people on earth, far ends of me, friend. In Russian language, the word for friend is drug. Drug. Drug is also in the word другой. It's kind of like in English saying, she's my alter ego, like she's the second me. Другой, it's someone else, but the drug is a friend. So there is I, which is actually very interestingly in Russian just a backwards I. It's ya in Russian. So there is I, ya, and then there is someone else, like opposite me, drug. So in Turkmen language, the word for friend is dost. And this word, dost, what does it remind you of? Tell me. Comment, please. Uno, dos, tres, right? Dos is number 2. So Even like the word I in English is written like number 1, yeah, I. And the dos is the number 2. Dos is someone they are looking at. And actually, like, the Russian word for you is ty, in a singular, ty, and it kind of like same as, like dos. It's the second person who the first person is speaking with. So when you understand that, you see, it's like languages give us understanding that actually God created this world. And when I say God, I'm very spiritual, not religious, even though I belong to many religions. But God is like, you could call it source, you could call it the big mind, the hugest mind. Actually, big mind is the least descriptive for me. Source, soul of universe, heart of universe, but actually is everything. Consciousness is in everything. God is in everything. I was saying in my previous video that God is a very expanded meaning for me. So, in Indian language, friend is mitra. And mitra, meat, like English meat. And Ra is actually light, also God of light in some languages, yeah? So it's kind of like God, spirit, light. And Mitra is someone else, your friend who you are meeting in spirit. Because basically, when you have like really best friend, that's when the best of spiritual connection happens, right? So please comment. Is this making sense to you? Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And today I wanted to look at one word as, a human being. Human. I wrote it on the board in English. By the way, I'm showing up my beautiful zipper. Human in English, Adam in Turkmen, and Человек in Russian. I transcribed it all in English, so it will be easy for you to read. And so when we say the word human, what do you hear? Look, if we just take the first letters, it's hum, right? Only human being has ability to say these conscious words. Well, of course, parrots can repeat them, some of them. Only human being can have this really hearty and echoing laughter, yeah? They say maybe monkeys, it's kind of like more mockery. Only human being has consciousness that took us this far. And even though some people say with the language, it's like not always, but in my experience, you can always find really amazing words to describe any experience, especially if you're using your hands to enunciate. Hand in Russian, ruka. Ka in Sanskrit is time, and ru is spirit. Like, time moving the spirit, ruka. And like in Turkmen language, it's el. And el, it's actually the same as you hear in the names of the angels. Mikael, Raphael, Uriel. El means light. So the hands enunciate the light, and light is consciousness. Light is closest to what we get on planet Earth to understand, to feel, to take in God. Notion of God. So only human beings can hum And very interestingly, this Vishuddha, throat chakra, the seed syllable for it is hum. And when like your heart, your brain are synchronized, your guts, all your body is like in one, and you consciously humming, it's actually extremely healing. There is a special kind of humming which is like toning, and like Tibetan, Siberians, deep throat singing sort of toning, and it actually like can stop bleeding. It was my personal experience one time. When I had to stop bleeding, I hummed and it stopped. So, even actually more than once. Human. When we just say human, can you hear two words in it? Hue, which is like color, and man, which is kind of like a man. Yeah? Man, woman, human, human. But guess what? Man in Sanskrit means mind. And mind. And when we read it backwards, it's the word nam. Nam, it's like a word, those sound, nam, the name, the sound, the original name that bursted that universe. Nam, like in spiritual, some flows, they say like, the breath that was given to you, 1/10 of it has to be spent on worshiping the names of God, because every name of God, it's like presents a different quality of God. And when you worship them, it actually like, you get a lot of blessings, earthly blessings as well, because you're not wasting your breath, and your breath can actually even increase. So, human, colorful, mind. Colorful name could be like that too. So, very interestingly, in Turkmen language, you see this means it's a long A. Adam. You understand? It's the same word as actually Adam and Eve, the very first man, Adam. And that means a human being in Turkmen language. So I would actually only show that there is this da here, da. And you probably know in Russian language, da is yes. And there is even that movie, yeah, yes. Because yes is very life-confirming energy. You know about that man who decided to say yes to everything. So, and finally, the Russian word chelovek. It actually consists of two words, chelo and vek. Vek means century. Chelo means forehead. So it actually kind of implies, chelo is the old word for forehead in Russian language. In a modern language, it means lob. But chelo is a higher style, older word, more ancient word for forehead. So chelovek, it actually means, because vek is a century, which means 100 years, so that this word gives us the idea that human being actually is supposed to live 200 years, 100 years. So also very interestingly, chelo, ch, ch I wrote, ch, is, actually it can alternate with the more dry consonant, ta, ch. So basically, if we say ta here, then we get telo. And telo in Russian language actually means body. Telo, vek. And then again, vek is very interesting word too, because like, same way in Kabbalah, we have like, we have Torah as a sacred book. We have Bible as a sacred book. And in India, we have Vedas. And so it means, you see, there is a meaning there also, that forehead that knows, has ability to know. And you know that in a construction of the brain, this is our frontal brain. And this is the brain that actually makes abstract thinking, And by now, because we have so much brain studies already, guess what? The happiness is described living in the left part of the brain. So if you want to just kind of like increase happiness in your life, then take your hand and hold it like this. And actually you can also take this hand and put it kind of like, back here where your head meets the neck. There is an occipital point there that holding it like, gives you a stillness point. But it's like where your head meets the neck. But if you put like a hand there like this, and then put the hand like here, and then focus on the light. Because the middle of your palm is a huge point for light that is coming from your heart. And if you have an intention, put an intention into your heart that right this moment you choose to be happier, you choose to be lighter, and feel how right in the middle of your palm, both palms, there is a heart. It's like your heart multiplied 3 times. And there is a triangle. It's like 3 hearts in your palms and in your physical heart. And they're communicating between each other. Try it. And bliss enters your body. Healing is easy. Blissfulness is easy with the rainbow medicine. Please share this video. Please come back for more. This was Dr. Anna Christogoya, even though now I kind of like even hate to call myself a doctor because I want to be one of you. Just one of you. Okay, now I remember that song, right? What if God was one of us? Just a stranger on the bus. Da 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 da, getting home. I love you so much. Until we see again, from my heart to yours. Peace on earth.